Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar brand new to Seesaw, specifically for grades 3 through 5. We are honored that you are spending time with us today, getting started with Seesaw in your own classroom. I'm Angela, and I lead the community team here at Seesaw. I was a kindergarten teacher for 15 years using Seesaw in my classroom, and we are here to help you get started. This is for teachers who are brand new to Seesaw. So you don't have to know anything as we get started here today. So we're excited to have you. A couple notes before we get into the webinar. This is an interactive session. That means you are going to have a second device close to you, not maybe the computer you're watching the webinar on. Could be an iPad or a Chromebook. Maybe you're going to use your phone, but make sure you have Seesaw, the Learning Journal, the app, downloaded on that device. You're not going to need to create an account because you're going to be playing as a student today. So basically just getting it downloaded. So Seesaw works on every device. So no matter what device your students are using or you are using today, you can get Seesaw on it. So here are just some icons to look for on your device as you are getting that second device ready for today. Keep in mind too, if you already have Seesaw on your device, maybe you started using it last year in your classroom, you're going to want to make sure that you have the latest version of Seesaw. This is Seesaw 6.0, which was released in June, and there are lots of features included in that you wouldn't have access to if you haven't updated your app. So make sure if you already have Seesaw that it is also updated. You can just go to do that wherever you download your apps on your device. And of course, if you're using a computer, you don't need to download anything. You just go to app.seesaw.me in any of the browsers here shown on the left, Chrome, Firefox, or Microsoft Edge as well. So we, again, are thrilled that you are here. And just a reminder, you can type in questions in the question box at any time. I'm Angela, and I'll be here trying to answer your questions as Kara, our amazing presenter, is working through this webinar today. And just note that we will send you the recording of this webinar, the video, and also the slides today as well after the live webinar happens. And of course, if you're watching the recording, we welcome you as well, and you can play along with us as we go through this webinar as well. So everyone enjoy. Well, I'm excited to have Kara Brem presenting for us here today. Kara is an amazing teacher in North Carolina, and I'm actually passing the slides to her right now. So she's going to get them pulled up on her computer. She's going to turn her mic on, and we're going to see her screen here in just a moment. She's got some amazing slides for you. Looking good, Kara. You can go into present mode there.
Awesome.
And she's going to get started. Yay!
All right. I'm loading here on my end. I don't know if you see that part, but I'm looking forward to spending some time with everyone today, and I'm honored to be here to share how to use Seesaw for brand new teachers in your 3rd through 5th grade classroom. Is it looking good yet, Angela?
Still loading on my side,
Okay.
so maybe do a quick refresh and see if that helps.
It's coming.
Otherwise,
I see the ball moving.
Okay, good. We're making progress. It's a little slow here in this early morning, apparently. But
I guess it's, for everyone in the Northern Hemisphere who's not year-round, they're probably gearing up for school, and my computer must be running a little slow on summertime, I guess.
It's feeling the same way. So hopefully people are truly in their PJs here, in their PD and PJs, as we're getting started. So we'll let the computer try for another second. Oh, yay! It's woken up now. Awesome.
My name is Kara Brem, and I am a Seesaw ambassador. I've taught grades 3, 4, and 5 for 19 consecutive years. And last year, I took the leap into middle school, changed things up for myself a little bit, and I'm teaching 7th grade math. When I've used Seesaw in all of those classes, and even now in my middle school classroom, I've had shared iPads and laptops. I am in Cary, North Carolina, and you can get in touch with me at Mrs. Brum Tweets on Twitter. So let me just see here. All right, we're loading again. Sorry for any confusion here. Let me try to start this over from this slide, Angela. Here we go. Perfect. All right, back to here. Fingers crossed the computer gets out of summer mode. There we go. Now I think we've got it. All right. In the bottom right-hand corner, there is also a link to the slides if you want to follow along in advance. There, it's the bit.ly link. So our plan for today is, since this is a brand new for 3 through 5 teachers, is to introduce Seesaw and have you investigate and see and explore yourself even creative tools that are built into Seesaw, which are amazing. I'm going to have you be a student in my class today, and we are also going to get to try some classroom activity ideas. I'll give you some ideas that you can use in your classroom. Again, as Angela mentioned earlier, if you are with us live, please type any questions that you have in the question box. You know, if there's anything that I can help you with live, I'm happy to do that. And she can also type responses as well in there for just some quick steps or things that you need. And we'll wrap up at the end with what would you do next after this webinar? Where do you go from here? So we'll take good care of you today. All right. Seesaw is a platform for student engagement, and it inspires students, of course, to do their best. It saves teachers time, and it is probably the single most powerful tool I've used in my classroom at any grade level that I've taught. With Seesaw, you can choose from many creative tools that are already included and embedded to allow students to express themselves and reflect on their learning. So whether it's a video, an audio, if it's drawings, links, they're creating their own piece and their own growth and success, and putting it in a portfolio that they're very proud, very, very proud to show others. Seesaw has recently updated, and that Angela was talking about, and has started an activity library, and teachers are able to browse through thousands of incredible activities that you can use as they are, or create your own, or tweak ones that are already in there just to make it fit just right for your classroom, which of course is going to save you time and also allow students to collect their responses. And you know, we all love time-saving prep, and I promise you we will dive into this activity library here coming up soon. Since Seesaw is going to free up some of that time, you're really going to be able to focus more on your students. You're going to get to see what they know and hear what they know as well. It really adds a different aspect and layer into you know, just the standard, let me pick up their paper and take home my load of papers and grade those papers and then return the papers when, oh, I forgot the papers or forgot to return them. But having everything digitally at like a one-click glance of student progress is really pretty amazing. And throughout this webinar, I'll show you how this will happen, and also how to really easily differentiate your instruction through Seesaw. So Seesaw allows teachers to find or create activities to share with students. And then once it's shared, students take pictures, they draw, record their voices, and even capture learning. throughout the school year in their portfolio. And another aspect of Seesaw that you may or may not know is that families can be connected, if you choose to do so, to see their child's work and leave comments and encouragement and, even connect grandma if they want. But it's a pretty incredible platform that allows all three, the teachers, the students, and the families, to be a true village and a part of student learning and progress. All right, I'm going to share with you a fourth grade student example, and this was made in Seesaw. So let's take a listen here. There we go.
There are two similes in this section. The first one is the ankylosaurus was built like a tank. And the second one was its hide was a fortress as sturdy as steel. The first one is a simile because it uses like to compare two things. The second one is a simile because it uses as to compare two things.
All right, so you got a little peek at my fourth graders there. There were two students that were recording, and they were sharing what we had just gone over, and they were allowed to use any text that they would like in order to find and share similes. So that was done in my fourth grade classroom. And what Seesaw is allowing teachers to do is not just not add something to your list. Now, we all know that our lists as teachers are a mile long and 10 miles wide, but and it's not one more thing. You're probably thinking, how in the world can I do this? One more thing, my school, my district, whatever, already wants me to do X, Y, and Z, and now there's this. How do we make it happen? It's enhancing what you're already doing. You're already asking them to find similes. You're already learning about similes. Instead of giving them that boring worksheet, you still see that they're learning. You see they're engaged. You can see that that progress, and then you share it with families, and presto changeo, your parent conference time has now shrunk down to a true 10-minute or 20-minute conference time, rather than parents going on because they just want to know what's happening in the classroom. So we're not trying to add to your list. It does not add to your list. It truly does enhance what you're already doing in the classroom. Seesaw works really great on shared devices, like I mentioned earlier. With my my recent fourth grade classroom, I had shared devices. I had a mix of iPads and laptops, but I had 3 iPads and 7 laptops, and that was for 28, well, we went up to about 32 students at one point. But it's also great if you're one-to-one. I know some schools as well, older students, older upper elementary might even bring their own device, like a phone or an iPad. Maybe they have their own laptop. But it's perfect for all of those settings. So whatever you have one device, you can do Seesaw with one device. And like Angela mentioned earlier, all of those devices, whether it's the Kindle Fires or the Chromebooks, they're all, it's compatible with all of them. And Seesaw is free. Everything I'm showing you here today is created with the free version of Seesaw. So just kind of keep all that in mind, and think about how this is going to work for you. All right, so what we have here is a little screenshot of what you would see in a classroom. So it's kind of a little peek inside of a Seesaw class, and it's what the teacher view is going to look like. So over here on the right-hand side, you can see I have a list of all the students in my class. And it's a roster. So I have already entered those as the teacher. And if I were to click on Julia's, for example, Julia's whole portfolio would pop up, and I could see all the 124 items that Julia posted in her portfolio. On the left-hand side over here is a feed of, it's like a live student feed. So you can scroll through, you can see different posts that all the students have done. I like to think of it as like a timeline. So the most recent thing would be at the top, and then at the very, very bottom, if you have the time to scroll all that way, it would be maybe the first thing that was ever entered into your whole entire class feed. So it's all the students' work on the left, and then the individual student lists over here on the right. So this is just what it would look like. It's a quick screen grab of a teacher view. You today are going to be a student, so your view is going to be a little bit different, but I'm going to take you back and forth a few times to show you what it will look like as a teacher. But today, again, you are going to just please be a student in my classroom, and I'll walk you through all of that in just a moment. Okay, so I'm going to show you the teacher view live here for just a second and just kind of show you some parts. Again, you're going to be a student, so if you could please just, hang out for just a moment, that would be awesome. This is the class that you are going to join as an adult learner, and you can see over on the right-hand side is my roster or list of students. And this is a class that I've used previously, so you can see there are 900 items in here, but no, that's not from today. That's just from some other professional development that I've done. And you can see for our purposes today, we are just using letters of the alphabet. So you can pick a letter of the alphabet to submit all of your work in. But when you enter your students, you'll actually give them a name, and you'll be easily able to see all of their work. On the left-hand side over here is the live feed view, so you can see we had some people enter some things. There I am previously. Now, again, these are from adult learners, so just so you are aware, that everything you see on the left-hand side is from previous posts of adult learners. So I will show you student work, but this is not a true student class. This is an adult student class. Some other things that you will get to see here, there are other links across the top here. So there are activity links and message links that you might see. And over here would be my list of other classes. So if you teach more than one class, like maybe you're upper elementary or a 5th grade teacher, and you teach the language arts social studies, and you have 2 classes of that because you switch with another teacher for the math science, you can have multiple classes in here, and it's easy to toggle back and forth and share things to those classes. Something else that's really important here for teachers is the plus sign. So we will kind of get into that today, but if you're going to post to journals, create those activities, or just browse those activities, you would do that from the plus sign. And over here in the corner is a wrench. The wrench is going to give you all of your settings. So if we talk about a setting, that we could change, like adding families, we could turn it on in this location, for example, or creating folders. But those things, just know that that's there, and that wrench allows the teacher to kind of play with some tools. Students do not have that wrench there, so just know that will be found only in the teacher view. All right, so today, what we are going to be doing is, again, you are going to be a student in my classroom, and Seesaw allows for super simple, very easy student sign in. We're going to be using a QR code, kind of like you see pictured over here on the left, and I promise you I'll walk you through all of that. But also know that another option for signing in is using email or Google to sign in. I know some of your upper elementary students might already have an email address from your school that you would assign to them. So that's an option as well. But for our purposes today, we are all using this QR code to sign in, and we'll get into that more in just a moment. So again, you are experiencing Seesaw as a student. Earlier, you were asked to make sure you had a second device so that you were ready to create using Seesaw's creative tools. So make sure you have that second device ready to go. And we just want to make sure that you're ready. If you are signed in as a teacher, I'll walk you through how to sign that out. But we are going to be joining the class that I just showed you, brand new to Seesaw for 3rd through 5th grade teachers. But again, if you are already in the Seesaw class app as a teacher, on the upper left-hand corner, you would want to tap on your profile icon over here. And once you do that, you are going to tap on the gear icon. And after you tap on that gear icon, please click sign out. So that will get you signed out as a teacher, and this is what everyone's screen should look like right now. If you're having any questions or trouble, make sure you type those questions into the question box if you are a live viewer. If you're watching on a recording, you can play along with us right now as well. Okay, so this is what everyone should be looking at, whether you are on a phone or a laptop or a Chromebook or a Kindle Fire. The login screen is very similar in all of those. And today, again, you are ready to be a student in my classroom. So here we go. You are going to click that I'm a student, and you are going to scan this QR code. Now I will give this to you in just a second. So you're tapping I'm a student again, and a built-in QR code reader pops up in Seesaw. So whether you are on a laptop with a webcam or a Chromebook, or you're on an iPad or a Kindle or Android, that built-in QR code reader is going to pop right up, and then you are going to scan the QR code. Now, if you've not been in Seesaw before, your computer or your device, especially laptops, for example, might say, do you have permission to enable the camera? And you, of course, want to say yes or okay or allow, because without that permission, you're not going to be able to get in. So don't tell it no, and you might have to do this with your students and tell them it's okay to say yes. Scan in the class code. There's also a text code at the bottom that for laptop users, it might be just a little faster to type that in. But just so you know, if you're watching this live, the text code will work for you. If you are watching a recording of this, the text code will not work, as it does expire after 1 hour. So this text code is still good for today, but know that it does expire after an hour. So if you're watching this on a YouTube recording, know that that code will not work, but the QR code, this little crazy graphic picture up here, that's going to work for everybody no matter what. All right, are we all feeling good? And if you have questions, please type it in the question box as we go along. Okay, so you should see something like this when you open up your screen. This is the student account. So again, you can see it should say, you know, it's the student account up in the corner, and you should see that plus sign, and everybody in the class is here, and there should be, maybe not necessarily my picture, but if you scroll down a couple, you'll see me in there. So everything should be good right now. If you have questions, make sure you ask. We're going to check out our first creative tool. So just kind of hold on to things for just a second and watch, and then I promise I'll give you some more hands-on time to do. The first creative tool is the photo tool. The camera is a built-in photo tool, and it's super easy to use, very student-friendly. Kindergartners, preschoolers can use it, and taking photos is a really great place to start when you are just learning how to use Seesaw, but it's, you know, a tool that is totally priceless. So you would tap on that photo tool and take a picture. And from that picture, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be taking a picture of something. It can be a selfie, like that's me. I took a picture of myself. It could be a picture of your room, your screen, whatever it might be, and take a picture of your pen if you'd like, and add describing words to the picture. So add those adjectives and nouns. What I did to add my describing words was I clicked on the label tool, and you can see you can change the labels to look different ways, but that label tool allowed me to add all of my adjectives and nouns. When I'm done, I would tap that green check mark up in the right corner, and it will pull up the menu of my class list. And I would, again, tap that first letter of my first name. So if my name was Donna, I would choose D, Kara is K, Angela A. You get the picture. But again, this is just for training purposes that we're using the letters of the alphabet. So for your students, you would have their full name there. And then what we're going to be trying this in is in the activities tab. So everyone in your student view should see the activities tab. It's the little light bulb. If you could tap on the activities tab right now and find this activity, it's called Describe Yourself, and you'll see that selfie of me, and it gives you written description of how to do the activity. It gives you step by step. There's audio instructions that you could click and play. We won't hear them on the webinar if you click them at your house, don't worry. But you can play the instructions. And when you're ready to add your own picture, you tap the add button in the right-hand corner. So once you found this activity, you can tap the add button in order to add that photo of yourself, or if something in your room or something that is near you. Okay, so we're finding this activity and we are adding this activity. Whoops, and I'm going to leave this here and turn on some music that we're going to have, and I'll give you about a minute to get that in there. All right. So if you're still adding that, that's completely fine. Go at your own pace. If you're watching a recording, you can always pause the recording. But if you're live with us, just like Angela mentioned earlier, all of this is going to be sent to you in an email, both the recording and all the slides. So you'll have access to try this again at a slower pace. But we're going to check in again with our class, our live class in our teacher view. Please stay logged in as a student. So I'm going to show you mine. Don't change anything on yours, okay? So when I go back to my teacher view, what we're going to notice here is, let me refresh this. So what you would notice if you had students adding to your class, which I'm hoping y'all were adding to my class here, you might see a banner come across the bottom. And you can see here it says there are 32 unapproved posts. So that's fabulous. So I'm going to click review. And what I have here, and I can scan through and I can see, look at all these awesome posts, right? And for each one, it's going to ask me, do I want to approve this or do I want to delete this? And it'll also show when new people have added, and I can go and click new, and then it will refresh the screen for me. So what I can do is I can say, all right, yes, green check mark. I like that that was done correctly, and y'all are looking pretty awesome out there. And what it can also do, you can also do is go down here and approve all. But everything that your students submit to you, the default in Seesaw is for the teacher to have to approve all of these posts. And I do still recommend it with upper elementary students for you to keep that turned on, not only for their benefit, but for yours as well. So you know what's being posted. If you're also connecting families, you want to see what's being posted by your students and listen to what's being posted by your students before it gets sent home to families. So because we're all professionals, though, I am going to use the approve all check mark, and that will say all of these items I haven't seen, do I want to approve them? Well, yes, I do, because I trust you professionally. Not that I don't trust my students, but having good digital citizenship discussions certainly is important in your classroom, and you might want to do that before considering any of that. So when everything's been approved, you'll have a little message that basically says, hey, you're all caught up. And also notice there's no little red circle with a number up here. So we got rid of that as well. But you can scroll through here as the teacher and see what everyone has done. And now that it's been approved by the teacher, you can scroll through also and see what your classmates have added as well. So pretty cool, right? All right. So you did your first activity, which is very exciting, and I'm very proud of you. Thank you to everyone who's participating. The idea here is for you to see what your students are doing and collecting and how they're growing, and the whole flow of the process takes it from, I shared an activity with you, you responded to that activity, and then I approved those student responses. That's the flow to the Seesaw journal is, here's an activity, you do that activity, all right, I've approved it, I've seen it, and if families are connected, as soon as the teacher clicks approval, then guess what? The families get notification as well. And we'll dive into that a little bit later. All right, so now maybe your wheels are starting to turn thinking about, okay, how could I use this in my classroom? So I'm going to give you a few ideas. And the first thing you could do is just truly start simple. You could take a day or two and capture learning in the moment by, okay, well, maybe I'm doing it the first day of school and I'm just going to take a couple pictures of my students and I'm going to post them to their journals for them because I want to play myself. Okay, so this is something that a teacher could do, and that's an option as well. If the first day of school isn't the first time you're using it, maybe you're waiting until later in the fall to get started. Here are pictures of my students in my 4th grade classroom I took, and then I posted to their journals for them, and their parents could see, oh, look, we were having a fall fun day, and this is what we were doing. Our students can document, of course, as well, and that's the goal, is to get the students to do the work, and you can reap the benefits from that, and they can as well. So I'm going to share with you a couple examples here. These are using the photo tool. I have a beginning of the year goal setting poster that I've done with my 4th graders, and the idea is they make this poster. It's like their own little version of a selfie. They write a couple goals and they take a picture and record their voice.
My personal goal for the year is to overcome some of my fears. My academic goal for the year is to get good report cards. My behavior goal for the year is to be nicer to myself.
All right, so again, we're not trying to give you more work. this is something I already did in my classroom, so now I'm just capturing it in Seesaw. Well, actually, the students are. You know, in science class, you are going to have different hands-on activities. Here are some fiddler crabs, and students took a picture, and then they gave me some details, and they used the caption tool on the picture to just write a little bit about what they knew about the fiddler crabs. They also used some drawing tools that we'll get into shortly here, and they identified the male and the female fiddler crabs in the picture. So very simple, right? Think about how you could use that in science. Even social studies, you know, the students were working on comparing the North Carolina Constitution to the United States Constitution, and then they were asked to create a class constitution. So they used the picture and the draw tool.
Student leaders. We can also vote on assistants for them, 2 assistants each. They would help on deciding the rules of the classroom. They can also decide if we should have certain supplies in our room. Judicial would be led by 7 student judges that are voted in.
All right, so you get the idea. They're just capturing through photo what they've already done in the classroom, whether that's individually or as a group. Okay, so we're going to check out the drawing tool next. You see that little pencil, and you got to see the drawing tool used a few times there. Students can actually draw on the photos that they take, and this is a very simple math concept that could be used in most grade levels with patterns. So here they took the picture, they drew on top, and they recorded their voice to tell about it.
This is our pattern that we found in our classroom. It starts with blue, white, red, yellow, green. Then it's blue, white, red, yellow, green again.
Okay, you get the picture, right? So these students are capturing their learning. If you like these activities, notice in the bottom right-hand corner, when you get the slides, there will be a little link there, and I'll share one of those later, but that is to the Seesaw activity that you could use with your students. Here's another example of a student using the draw tool. This is students using authentic nonfiction text that they chose. They were figuring out how to share what they were learning about text structure for nonfiction, and she explained how circled the caption in the picture and then just wrote a little bit here to explaining how it she understood more about the book by the caption. So very simple drawing on pictures, but it also enhances it, and it really hones in on what do students know. And if students are doing this while you're meeting with a small group or for morning work in the morning, just, you know, they're showing you that they're learning, they're engaged in their learning, and you can quickly see, do they get it or do they not? The draw tool really helps emphasize that. I mean, here's a Venn diagram, draw the Venn diagram using the draw tool. These are some of the features of the draw tool here. You can draw it, but if you mess up, you can erase it. You can label, which we've already done. We've seen that, right? And you can determine the thickness, you can determine color, so many great things with the draw tool here. And you know, even more, once you are done and you've drawn, well, you could record your voice, or you could, you know, add a caption, and you saw all of those things be used with the photo, and now you can also use that with the drawing tool as well. So all these creative tools are here for your students. I have a few more classroom ideas here to share with you. This is photo, voice, and drawing, and this is a student explaining math concepts. It could be any math concept that you are working on at any grade level, and she was explaining the area and perimeter robot that we did.
This is my area and perimeter robot. It has a hat, a head, 2 arms, 2 legs, and a body, and also a dog. We had to add features. I and I had a hat.
Okay, so if you like that activity, there is a link here that you could click on. This will go right to the Seesaw activity, and it will, like you saw on the one that you did, give a list and give audio directions. If you like the activity and you're signed in as a teacher, you can save it. If you're not signed in as a teacher and you click save activity, it will allow you to sign in so that you can add it to your library. And we'll add and take a little look at that in a little bit. All right, reading comprehension, fluency. I mean, hello, we're still working on that in upper elementary school. So this is an example of how to get both of those in one little 14-second snapshot.
This is the stop and jot strategy. I chose this part because there's many details. Listen, outside the wind slapped and banged around the house, and the thunder cracked as if 1,000 boulders were breaking across the heavens. Lightning split in the sky.
So you can see that, you know, you can hear her fluently reading, but she also was sharing a strategy that we were learning in the classroom called stop and jot. And, you know, a sticky note, a picture, audio, it goes a long way. And hopefully your gears are starting to turn. Again, there is an activity link if that's something you would like to add to your classroom. The really amazing thing with all of these activity links is that you can see students' activity responses all in one location. And I'm going to show you, kind of go back here and just show you what that looks like. If you like this activity for sketching your goals, there is a link here. But if I go back to the class that we were just in, and I'm noticing that here is a response to my question, I can click on that on anyone's, right? And I can see, you know, that I have responses down here. Whoop. Well, let's go down to one that we haven't done. There we go. Describe yourself. That's the one I asked you to work on. So hold on one second. I can go back into the activities and see what's going on here. So if they're waiting for approval, if you know what's going on, if I need to add a response for a student, I can go and take a look and see it all in one place here. So even if I went back to my activities menu and I clicked on this activity, there we go, it's pulling it back up again. I'm having some technical difficulties here. All of the activities are saved in that one space, and we can, as a teacher, visually scan and have that at a glance, who's done, who's not done, and what does it look like. It's just a quick one click to see that, and to, my computer would cooperate today. It's just not liking me this summer. It does not want to go back to school, tell you what. All right, come on. Sorry, y'all. All right, we're gonna move on here. Seesaw's also pretty incredible with the ability that allows students to provide feedback and reflection. And one of the tools that you may have noticed if you look in the feed is that you can comment on other people's work. Now that is a tool that is on for our classroom, and the teacher has discretion whether they turn that tool off or on. But if you have, you know, the teacher can comment, the student can comment back, and the last comment, if we move that little menu out of the way there, give it a second, the last comment at the bottom is a parent who is commenting as well. So all of that can happen at the same time, and you know, students can get feedback from other students, they can get feedback from their teacher, their parents, they can reflect on what they've been doing, and it's such a powerful tool that Seesaw provides. Another thing that I know that we're all doing in upper elementary grades are book projects or projects in general. And Seesaw is a perfect way to add projects to show student growth, to show their learning, and to capture things that maybe you've spent days or hours of having each person come to the front of the classroom to share their book project in a bag, and each one takes about 10 minutes and so on and so forth. And then there's transition time, and what if you get interrupted? So previously I've done a short webinar, about 10 minutes, on how to share book projects in Seesaw. So I've included the video link here and the slides link here. Now, if you're watching this live, you will get all of that shared with you in the slides from this recording. So you can't click on it right now, but you will have access to that. But I just want to share with you, kind of keep that in the back of your mind as well, if you're using doing book projects or any subject projects, that those can be shared in Seesaw. The note tool is also a very powerful tool. Think of it just a way to jot down ideas, use it for quick responses, short journal entries, written responses to a short writing prompt. Maybe you use exit tickets in your classroom, you want to grab a quick formative assessment snapshot of what's going on, goal setting, reflection. So all of these things can be used for the note tool as well. Maybe you even use the note tool to jot a quick note and send it to the parents in your classroom because you have that connection set up as well. Some other important creative tools to note are the link tool and the add file tool. So with the link tool, you can use the link tool for app smashing. So that means grabbing a link from another app like Chatterpix, for example. This was created in Chatterpix. At the end of Chatterpix, it says, that you can share this, and it gives you a link. Well, we took the link, put it into Seesaw, and this is what we got.
Friend Shayla gave on this. He was the first man ever.
So the whole Chatterpix presentation is now captured in Seesaw instead of just sitting on the device that it was made on, so other people can enjoy it. And if you have questions more on app smashing, there is a link here for you to look at in the future. Adding files right from Google Drive is really useful for upper elementary students. I'm sure you're creating different things, whether it's on Google Slides, or that's not a problem. You can absolutely share your slides by just clicking and uploading your slides directly from Seesaw. If you had a document that you're typing up in Google Docs, you can certainly add that directly into Seesaw. Or if you have something saved on your computer, you're using Microsoft Word and it's saved on the computer, you can even pull that into Seesaw. So anything is available. This is a really neat activity to use. Have the student type up their short writing piece and then click the microphone to read the document out loud so that they can listen to themselves read out loud and catch any errors that they might have with their writing. So very powerful. There's a little activity link in the right-hand corner that you can grab later if you'd like it. And I threw this in here. This was created by Julie, who works for Seesaw, and she used it in middle school and high school presentation. And I thought this is so appropriate for upper elementary. So many 4th, 5th grade teachers especially, they're all into Google Classroom, but and they don't see the benefit necessarily in using Google Classroom and Seesaw. Why do I need one? I'm using the other, and so on and so forth. But this really is something for you to read and think about. But both, I use both in my classroom, and both are certainly have their values and can enhance each other. So Seesaw and Google, there are videos here that can help you learn more about using Seesaw with Google Apps and on Chromebooks, and so lots of fabulous resources for you that you can check out on your own. But we want to do one more quick activities where I share an activity with you, you respond, and then I will approve the responses. So I would like for you to please find this activity. Thank you for waiting until we got there. I know you might have seen it there before, but thank you for finding respond to a question. You can use this activity for with your students as well. You just have to provide the question or topic. Your question is, what are you excited to try with Seesaw? And when you're ready, you can begin. I'm going to play a little music here to get us started, and I'll give you about a minute. All right. If you're finishing up, that's not a problem. Just continue on whenever you're ready. So we're going to check in with our live class again to see what's going on here. And let's see. Let me refresh my screen. That will help everything update to see who has submitted their response. You can see my numbers have changed. There we go. So I'm in the activities. If I go back to the journal, it will show me all my unapproved posts that I can click on review. And again, I can approve each one individually. Or I can, because I trust you and you are adults, I can approve all of these. But you can see the flow of it, right? That I gave you something to do, which was the activity. You submitted the activity, and I can see it's in response to a question. And so what I can see here is what the actual activity was. If I forget, you know, sometimes we forget as teachers what's going on here, and then you can go through and you can approve them. So feel free to continue to submit, and we just have a few more quick things to share here with you. Almost done. You know, Seesaw's creative tools really do capture that learning, and hopefully you're able to see that by now. But having that activity library is something that's pretty special and fairly new to Seesaw, that is just growing leaps and bounds every day. But Seesaw provides some getting started activities, and what you can do is you can use what's already there by grade level, so you don't have to, you know, think of these on your own, or you can totally come up with them on your own. But when you use the getting started with Seesaw in 4th grade, for example, it's going to give you, do this one first, do this one second, third, and it gives you 5 different activities to get started with that you can ease into Seesaw and ease your students in, while also using some different creative tools as well. So what I want to show you is how to, as a teacher, get to that library. So I'm going to click this plus, and it says Browse Activity Library here. And when I'm in the activity library, the default grade level that comes up is the grade level that you're signed up for. So I'm signed up as a 4th grade teacher. If I wanted a different grade level, I can certainly select that different grade level. I can choose by subject. Maybe I want math, and I can look and see what's here for 3rd grade math. Or I can even type something that's specific to my curriculum, and maybe there's something out there for me like 3D figures, and if I click on 3D figures, maybe there's something out here in 3D figures that that I'm interested in using. Or if I don't see anything in 3rd grade, maybe I want to go to 4th grade. Maybe I have someone who is a 4th grade student or a third grade student that really just is working on a fourth grade level, or maybe a fifth grade level. Or I could be a fifth grade teacher and I have a student. Now this one says all activities matching 3D. Maybe I look at this activity and I say, hey, that's not fifth grade, but I do have a student that could really benefit from that. And what I can do is I can share this. I can, first of all, like this activity, right? So I can, and create a collection. Maybe I have it in my geometry collection because I liked it before. I can create a new collection if I want, or I could share it specifically with one student because student A really is struggling with 3D figures, and I could just share it just with student A. I could also have an activity and I could share it with other teachers. I could select teachers to email, I could share it on social media, I could, which is what I did for you all to share, I could just copy the link and it automatically copies it, and I could, attach it to a document and share that document, or put it in, maybe you have lesson plans that you share with your grade level. You can just throw that link in your digital lesson plans and you're good to go. So the activity library is so powerful. The whole Seesaw library is here and thousands of activities are in there already. Seesaw ambassadors right now are the ones that are adding to it. But then you would have your own personal library. Everything that you like or you create is there as well. So that's very powerful and certainly something that you want to check out.
Hey,
All right.
Kara.
Yeah.
It's Angela. I'm going to have you kind of go quickly through this because we're already a little bit over, and I want to make sure we get to questions too. So she's going to tell you a little bit about connecting families, and then we'll go into some questions in just a moment.
All right, sorry, my passion was taking over, I suppose. All right, so I mentioned already that you can connect families to Seesaw, and the families use the free Seesaw family app, different than the app that you use to log in, or they could go to the website as well, and they choose how they're going to connect. But in order to connect them, you can send paper invitations, and there are more languages than just English that you could print that out. You have a German family, you can print it out in German, Spanish, for example. And if you don't want to print them, you could send an email to those families. But once the families are connected, they would see everything that was posted in only their child's student journal. So that's something really important to think about. It's only their child's journal. If you want to learn more about connecting families, there is more in the brand new Part 2 webinar that you'll get information about. If you're setting up your class and you're thinking about doing a Google or email login, I do have information for you here. And don't forget that help.seesaw.me is pretty amazing. I have these arrows up here because there's 3 ways you could get help. You could ask a question, which would send a very specific question from you to a member on the Seesaw support team. You could search for something, it's not something you need to tell a person about, but hey, how do I connect families? And you could search that here, or you could go to the Seesaw assistant down here in the right corner. That's the little question mark, and that just, it's like a pop-up menu. It's not really a live person, but it's very, common questions, and it could direct you where you needed to go quickly. There's also, as you know, free professional development, so check into that, or recorded on YouTube webinars that we've done already. And specific for 3rd through 5th grade, there are some other webinars that you might be interested in that are very specific to those grade levels. Also, don't forget that Seesaw is concerned about privacy, and if you have concerns about that, or maybe your administration or your parents have that, please visit the Privacy Center. Reach out to us with direct questions on that, but that's certainly a top priority. If you've heard about Seesaw for Schools, it is a paid subscription. It's basically data collection and you know, organization is a little bit different, some extended features, and a continuous comprehensive record of student learning while they're in that school. So kindergarten to first grade to second and so on. But you can learn more about it here if you're interested. So I'm excited to say you're ready for Brand New to Seesaw Part 2. And you will get information about that, or you could click on the link on this slide to learn a little bit more. All right,
All
so
right.
Angela.
Yeah, keep it up. Keep that slide up right there. But I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And of course, we want to respect your time. So if you want to buzz out of here right now, you can. There will be a survey that pops up on the screen when you exit the live webinar that we would love, love, love your feedback about this session, and let us know what other webinars you'd like to attend. But we're actually going to take some time here for questions. So if you want to stick around for some extra time, Kara's going to take some time to answer the questions that you do have.